Hey everybody, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you no-brainer fragrances. So if you're somebody that is new to the fragrance game and you want to pick out something that you know is going to smell good, I got you, all right? And as always, I have a discount link for all these fragrances in the description box below. I'll also put it in the comment section, and it's for global shipping. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can get your hands on these bottles and samples of them if you so please, all right? We got unisex, feminine, masculine. I'm going to start with a feminine fragrance that I don't currently have a bottle of. It's called Versace Bright Crystal, and it's this lovely pomegranate, lotus, magnolia fragrance. So it has these florals that smell absolutely gorgeous, and then it has the interesting pomegranate note, but it's such this likable fragrance. The first time I wore it, I did one spray on my arm, and I received, I think it was 2 compliments within the span of 10 to 15 minutes. So the opening of that fragrance really hooks people in, and it is just an absolute compliment monster. So if you're somebody that, it's more of a feminine fragrance, but of course, if you're a guy and you want to see how it works on your skin, give that a shot, because skin chemistry is a big thing with fragrances. Don't let the label stop you on anything. But the one downside to the wearers of Versace Bright Crystal is that they tend to get nose blind to the fragrance. After about an hour or so, people complain about it falling off their skin and the poor performance. But I will say that I gave the sample of it to my sister, and after an hour, she was telling me that she can't smell it anymore. But after 6 hours, I complimented her because I smelled it just wafting in the air. And she wasn't close to me, by the way. She was maybe like, we were on opposite sides of the table and like long ways. And I just like smelled something. It was a bit soft, but, well, actually, no, I don't think it was long ways. It was like the short ways. But I smelled her, and she smelled really, really good. So Versace Bright Crystal is a great fragrance to wear, especially if you're going on a date. It just absolutely does something to the masculine nose. I've heard so many stories in my DMs from people that have worn it and from people that have complimented their partners that wore it. So it's something that really just, people gravitate to it, you know? All right, next up, we got a masculine fragrance here. This one is called La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL. And this is my favorite fragrance out of everything I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot of nostalgia with this one. But on top of that, it's just this really sexy cardamom fragrance. If you're somebody that wants a straight up sexy scent, that's what you want to be known for. You want to be the sexiest smelling person, just go for La Nuit de l'Homme, okay? I didn't, and I know I'm saying sexy like 7 times in a row, but I swear to you, I didn't know what sexy smelled like until I got my nose on this fragrance. I was blown away with the scent. I also smelled it with my sister, and she was blown away. She's like, damn, that is the best thing I have ever smelled. And this was when her and I didn't really smell a lot of fragrances. This is when I was just getting started, which is what I'm assuming the people watching this video are. But oh, this one was so, so good. And I wore it as my signature scent. I received so many compliments from both men and women alike. And when I told people what it was, they're like, no way. Like guys would be like, I wear that. And girls would be like, oh, my brother wears that. There's no way that it's the same fragrance. And I'm like, it is, you know? So again, skin chemistry, very big thing. But La Nuit de l'Homme's weakness is the performance. Okay. So just simple fix, overspray it. And if you're newer to fragrances, I know if you hear that maybe over 3 sprays is a bit too much. With this scent, trust me, it's not. I went out with 17 sprays of this fragrance. Yes, 17 sprays, because I know how weak it is. It didn't choke me out. It didn't choke anybody else out that I was with. And I received so many compliments that night. So La Nuit de l'Homme, people say, is a nighttime fragrance. And yeah, I mean, La Nuit means night, I think, yeah. But I've worn this in like 70-something degree weather, and it shines differently in the daytime. So if you want to rock this as a signature scent, absolutely go for it. Don't mind everyone saying, no, just wear it on special occasions, because what's wrong with smelling the best all the time? Absolutely nothing, all right? Next up, we got a unisex scent here called Cloud by Ariana Grande. Now, I know that it's an Ariana Grande fragrance, so most people think, I don't want, like, most people are like, okay, it's a feminine scent, but trust me, it's unisex, okay? This is a dupe of Baccarat Rouge 540 by MFK. Does it smell exactly like it? Not necessarily, but it's close enough. And it has the same sort of effect that Baccarat Rouge 540 has on people, where it has the nose to the neck reaction, because it is a more unique fragrance in comparison to a lot of designer scents out there that are more fresh floral or vanilla sweet, you know? So Cloud has that cotton candy smell to it, and then there's also a little bit of this like whipped cream. Like it's airy at the same time, but it's not a fragrance I would suggest wearing in the summertime. You know, this is something that I find better suits cold weather because it has a nice scent trail. It has really good projection. And I think when I got this, I actually got this at Ulta for my grandma a year or two ago or something. And I didn't know about discount links at this time, or discount sites in general. I got it for like $75. But you can, like, when I looked online, like, you can find this for like $50, you know? And I was like, what? So yeah, don't pay full retail price for this fragrance or any of the fragrances that I'm sharing with you right now. But very sweet, seductive fragrance that is just gorgeous. I've gotten a lot of messages from both women and men telling me that this is their head-turning scent. And for something less than $100, it's definitely a good one. Performance is there, compliment factor is there, and usually for people that, and likability, of course, that's compliment factor, but for people just getting started, those are major keys that people look into, you know? So Cloud, don't sleep on it, all right? I know the bottle, if you're a guy, you look at the bottle, like, I don't want that. No one's really going to be looking at your bottle collection, all right? Next is another unisex fragrance, and this one is Givenchy Pie. Now, when you look this up, you're going to see that it says men's cologne. Just ignore that, all right? Ladies, the same way I was talking to the guys about not being afraid to rock this, do not be afraid to rock Pie by Givenchy. Now, this fragrance is more of a vanilla scent that also kind of has a powderiness to it. Now, it's not powdery like makeup powder. It's more of like a powdered sugar that I get on my skin, like powdered sugar and vanilla. More, the vanilla is definitely what shows out more, but you'll understand what I mean by that powdery sort of smell when you test this on your skin or if you spray it on your clothes. But Pie is something that took me a while to get into. Like, it's been in the game for a long, long time. It was huge in the 90s. And the first few wears of it, I did not care for the fragrance, but I will tell you, every single person I was around when I wore this complimented me. So it was the scent that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but every time I wore it, everyone was in love with it, you know? But finally, after about 6 wears of this fragrance, everything clicked to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, this shit does smell good. No wonder there's a cult following with it. And it's always funny because whenever I have girls come and check my collection and they just see things, whenever they see Pie, I've gotten this probably like 2 or 3 times. They're just like, oh my God, Pie. I love Pie. There has not been a single girl that has smelled Pie in my collection that didn't like it. They all, for some reason, really love this, and to a point where they want to wear it themselves, which is why I say it's a very unisex fragrance. But to me, this is a great scent you want to wear if you're trying to be intimate with somebody, if you want to cuddle and watch a movie. This is what you throw on. If it's a cold day outside, you're like, you know what? Let's stay in, put on some Netflix, do that. Pie. But trust me, Pie will do it for you. Next, we've got Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. And this fragrance does it all, okay? This is a more feminine scent right here. And it's a clusterfuck of sexiness, okay? There's over like 30 notes in this fragrance. And if I were to read every single one of them to you, your head might be spinning. You might be like, what? How does it smells like chocolate and white florals and other florals and like wood? How does that make sense? Just, you can look at the note breakdown if you want to, but is it an accurate depiction of what you're actually going to get on your skin? No, it's not. Okay, so you can easily smell this at Sephora. Try it for free and see if you like it. But it's just this very youthful, like super, super sexy fragrance. I suggest this especially to people that are like teenagers, early 20s. But I know there's a lot of moms that rock this. I always get that comment too, where girls are like, oh my God, I wanted to wear that, but my mom has it. And moms love this, all right? Like most people love this fragrance. And especially men. This is a scent that when guys come and check my collection and they're like, oh, what's this? It's a shoe, ha ha ha. And then they'll smell it and they'll take turns, like when they're still looking at other things in my collection, they will hold this scent, take turns, and just smell it like this, like in between, like somebody will be holding it and just be like, yeah, I like that one. That one's pretty nice. But they can't stop smelling this right here. So believe me when I say that this drives men feral. And I'm going to straight up say lesbians as well, because this drives me wild too. So Good Girl is just the scent that you have in your collection that you buy if you want a one-stop shop. If you're not planning to, or if you're just getting into it, right? You buy your very first perfume. You're not really thinking about buying 2 more. You just want something that's going to check all of the boxes. Then this is the scent you go for, okay? So I do find that it goes a little bit more sweet as it starts to dry down. So maybe on very hot summer days, I wouldn't recommend Good Girl, but in the springtime, in the fall, in the winter, you can 1000% wear this. And the performance on it, when I smell it on other girls, goes past 8 hours. Again, this is something that is long lasting. Jeez, stuttering over here. It's long lasting, but the person that wears it might go nose blind to it. That's a common thing with fragrances. Don't freak out about it. If you can't smell it, just ask somebody with you that you know and trust and be like, you still smell me? And if they don't, and you're only doing 1 spray, then just up your sprays. I have a video on how to apply a fragrance for like the maximum benefit and to get a nice scent bubble and all of that. All right. Next is a unisex fragrance called Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense for women. Yes, it's unisex, even though this is the women's bottle and the women's version. But like I said with Good Girl, like how I said Good Girl shouldn't be used in really, really hot days, this is the scent you throw on instead. If you want to get Light Blue Intense and Good Girl, you'll be set. Yeah. You'll be set for every single situation. If you're going to do something nighttime, if you're going to go clubbing, if you're going to go on a date, if you're going to go to the beach, if you're going to work out, those 2 fragrances will have you basically good for every single situation. But what I love about Light Blue Intense is that it's this really lovely apple, lemon, musk fragrance. Now on top of that, it's fresh and clean, but it's also fresh, clean, and sexy. This scent right here is my favorite summertime designer fragrance for a very, very good reason. Now, this also has pretty good performance. And for people that are wondering what the difference is between the original Light Blue and the Intense, to me, honestly, it's performance. The original falls off my skin really fast. We're talking within the span of 3 to 4 hours, but I still get compliments on this fragrance 7 to 8 hours later. So it definitely lasts. And I've said with some of these fragrances I've mentioned, when people come and smell things in my collection, whenever they come across Light Blue Intense, and by the way, I don't tell people what's marketed to who. I just let everybody smell things and see what they like without the label on it, right? This is something that both men and women, even equally, have said, I want to wear that fragrance because it just smells so, so good. All right. So Light Blue Intense. It's so good. Yeah. And if you're a guy, I really would suggest getting the women's over the men's. The men's is fresh and clean. It smells like shower gel. It smells like your typical Ralph Lauren sort of fragrance, but the women's has the sex appeal that the men's doesn't, and it works on everybody. All right. Next up, we got Legend Spirit by Mont Blanc. Now, this is more of a masculine leaning fragrance, and this is a cheapie right here. You can get a bottle of this scent, I believe, for like, well, the smaller one for like $36. The bigger one might be around 50, 55. I haven't really checked. It's been a while, but this is just the fragrance you get. If you're somebody that works out a lot, for example, and you want that fresh fragrance that's going to smell good when you're in the gym, when you're running outside and you kind of smell yourself, if you want a scent that smells even better while you're sweating, Legend Spirit is really, really awesome. It's just kind of this, it smells like fresh deodorant, like sexy deodorant. Yeah. Man, I forgot how much I really like this scent. Hold on, let me just kind of on my arm so I can smell it throughout the day. Damn, I remember I went on a walk with my sister, and she smelled this on me, and then she's like, "You smell really good, by the way." And I was like, "Oh, really? Like, what would you rate it 1 through 10?" She's like, "I would rate that at 9. Like, is that?" She thought it was I think she thought it was like an Abercrombie fragrance or something. But she's like, "It just smells so good. This is something that just doesn't fail. You know, the performance of it, not the best. Again, maybe 3-4 hours of noticeable wear time, but the actual smell of it is like it's just a really good scent. It's not fresh citrusy. It's not like a laundry fragrance. It's a deodorant sort of scent. And for some reason, I really love it. And I remember the first time I smelled Legend Spirit, I tried about 27 different fragrances at Sephora. I was trying like masculine, feminine, and this was my favorite one out of all of them. I was like, wow. Like my nose couldn't, like I kept coming back to the test strip for Legend Spirit, and it was the cheapest one out of everything. So I do love this scent, and it is a high recommendation, especially if you're a high school student, a college student, and you got less than like $50 or $60 in your pocket, and you want something that you know is going to smell sexy, then you go for Legend Spirit. All right, next, since we did talk about Abercrombie, Fierce. Now, I know that Fierce had its run in like the early 2000s, but I think like fashion, it cycles, right? So there was a time where this was super big and people would roll their eyes at the smell. They're like, ew, it's so gross, it's nauseating, because it was overly popular, right? And then it's come to that point where you don't really smell Fierce a lot. Instead, you're smelling things like Dior Sauvage. So Dior Sauvage is now the fragrance that everybody hates on because they smell it so often, right? But Fierce has now kind of taken a bit of a back seat. And I think for all of you that don't want to really follow the trend and you still want to smell good and a bit nostalgic, then Fierce is really, really fire, especially if you're like a high school student, college student. It smells damn good. You know, this, how does this, I'm trying to, I can't really smell it from here, to be honest. This shit brings back memories. I think anybody like 25 and up, 24 and up can attest to that, where they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. But I don't know, it smells like the popular kid, if we're being totally honest. Like, this just smells like the popular kid. I'm still kind of sick. I'm sorry. But it smells like the popular kid, and it's just really like, it's just this really flirty, youthful scent that just kind of also reminds me of puppy love. You know, if you're somebody you got in your first relationship, you're 14, 15, you want to smell good, you throw on Fierce, and then trust me, 10 years later, when your partner smells the fragrance again, they're like, oh, that reminds me of my first love. You know, it's a scent that is not easily forgotten at all. So I do love Fierce. All right, we're going to go for another masculine one here. This is Spice Bomb Extreme by Viktor and Rolf. Controversial opinion, this is unisex. This is unisex to me. I have worn this around a lot of guys. I've worn this around a lot of women. I've received nothing but love. Of course, this is more attractive to the feminine nose, right? But when I've worn this around guys, they can't get enough of it. They're like, you smell fire. They're like, what is that? And then I tell them, and they're like, there's no way, because my dad wears that. And then they have like the original Spice Bomb, or their friends wear Spice Bomb Extreme. They're like, it never smells like that. Usually, I guess, on the guys that I've talked to, it goes more like spicy, or like, I guess somebody also smelled like BO, which is unfortunate. But Spice Bomb Extreme is a spicy fragrance. It opens up with caraway, but then it also has tobacco and vanilla. And on my skin, the tobacco and vanilla just like morph into this really irresistible, sweet scent that is absolutely seductive. Spice Bomb Extreme isn't my personal favorite fragrance. But again, it's one of those scents that I like, but when I wear it around people, they love it. They just cannot get enough of it. I'm talking about long hugs where they're just deep sniffing your neck. And like, if you want to spray this on your sweater and you're on a date, you give your sweater to your date, or your car smells like this. Ooh, it's dangerous in the best ways possible. I will tell you that. Yeah, my girlfriend loves this. I think out of all the designer scents, not including the private blends, Spice Bomb Extreme and maybe La Nuit de l'Homme, but Spice Bomb Extreme has a very special place in her heart. She's like, that thing is so sexy. I love it. I can't get enough of it. And lastly, we got Black Opium by YSL. Now, Black Opium is kind of like the feminine Dior Sauvage, where you're going to see a big hate train on it. But again, if you're new and you're just getting started, like the title of this video implies, this is a no-brainer fragrance. This is for people that want to be attractive to the masculine nose, all right? To the feminine nose, I mean, people are still going to like it, but not to the extremes and the extent that most men do or lesbians do. Because this scent, I haven't heard a single negative comment about this fragrance from a guy. With women, you hear it all the time, right? I hear that people say, it smells like grandma. It could be because there's white florals in this fragrance, but it's more about that person's skin chemistry. Because this scent, it does have some spices, it has some white florals, but it has that vanilla and coffee that's just very, very dominant. And I believe that the coffee is what really makes this an addictive scent, because it keeps people's noses just coming back to it non-stop. Now, I will say, I do prefer Black Opium Extreme because I find the bourbon, vanilla, and the coffee to be even stronger and the other notes to kind of be more subdued, and I like that. But if you want more of the balance with the spices and the florals, Black Opium is great. And this is more of a nighttime fragrance as well. So do your research, see what people are saying about it if you want to, but please test it on your skin and make the decision for yourself, because you are going to hear so much hate about this fragrance online. I'm telling you that right now, but I'm also being honest with you when it comes to the compliment factor and having people go fucking feral, then Black Opium will absolutely still do that till this day. All right. Again, the names of the fragrances, I mean, the discount link for the fragrances for global shipping is going to be in the description box and the comment section below. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.